Hello, my name is Ben, and I thought in the spirit of Halloween coming up, I would give you guys my top 12 list of my favorite horror movies. A lot of people do top 10 lists, but I thought I would give you 12 since there are so many that I love. Um, I hope that you enjoy some of these too, but these are my lists, and I hope to give you my background on what I love. Um, I just wanted to say that I did YouTube a long time ago and was inspired to get back on it. So please don't take this seriously. I'm just doing this for a hobby. Please excuse the poor audio as I'm using a free app on my phone to record this. But without further ado, let's start the list. Number 12 is It Follows. I've really liked this movie ever since it came out. It has a great plot. I like how the enemy of the movie is sex, and with the specifically an STD is used as themes around the enemy of the movie. It's an invisible killer, and I just really like the premise of the film. It's very interesting, and it gives you kind of like an eerie feeling, and I really enjoyed the acting and the cinematography. And if I'm not correct, I believe the film Split uses the same director of photography because M. Night Shyamalan liked the cinematography of It Follows, but I always really liked that one. Number 11 is The Loved Ones. I think this is a very underrated movie, mainly because it was Australian and is given an Australian release. But I've seen this movie a couple times on Amazon Prime. I do not know if it's still on there or not, but if you can find it, it's a really good movie. Um, it always made me think twice about going to prom, and uh, I really like this one. It follows the story of a boy who was kidnapped by a um, crazed teen girl and her even crazier dad. I thought that some of the plot was a little intense, but that's what made the movie, and I really liked it. And if you can find it, it's called The Loved Ones. Number 10 is Halloween 2, and this is the 1981 Halloween 2. I've always liked this one out of all the Halloween movies, mainly because I find the hospital setting to be really creepy because I always hated hospitals myself. Um, Number 9 is Jeepers Creepers. I've always really liked this one despite their with the director and his sick crimes. But I believe you should separate the art from the artist and just kind of take it for what it is. But Jeepers Creepers on its own is a great movie. I think the Creeper is a very underrated horror killer. Um, I think Jonathan Beck, if I'm saying that correct, does a really good job as the Creeper. I think Justin Long does well in one of his first parts. Um, I really like the old lady. She's appeared in many things. I know her from Mrs. Dabney as the neighbor in Good Luck Charlie, but I'm sure she's been in other stuff. Number 8 is The Happening. I really like this one because it's so bad it's good. Um, I just like how you have M. Night Shyamalan, who's very talented. He's the prime example of hit or miss. I just like this one because it is so overly top with the dialogue, the story, and the effects of a natural disaster. And I believe the enemy of the film is nature in itself. And it's just really fun seeing Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel go crazy for an hour and a half. I don't expect really anyone to take this movie seriously. I don't. I just enjoy it for its over the topness, and it's definitely my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie. The character of Mrs. Jones is definitely my favorite. Number 7 is The Strangers, and what I love about this movie is that I find it to be realistic, and I think that there's nothing in this movie that couldn't happen in real life. I think home invasions are very real, and they happen every day, and sometimes they even turn violent like they do in this movie. I thought that the attackers were really creepy, and their motivation beyond it was even creepier. Um, I really enjoyed this one. However, I thought the acting of Liv Tyler's wasn't the best, but I thought everybody else gave a good performance. Number 6 is Monster House. I think this is a great movie. It's just a fun movie that I always enjoyed, even when I was young when it came out. It's animated, and I believe it's done by the same team that brought movies like The Polar Express and The Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey. I really like this one. It's has a great cast of voice acting. I believe Steve Buscemi as Mr. Nebbercracker is really good. I like Kathleen Turner as Constance. You have some comedy thrown in there with the two lazy co-ops. It's a really good movie, and I think it's also a good movie to watch with the family. And if you have like a kid that maybe wants to get into horror but isn't ready for some of the adult stuff, this would be a good movie to watch in the direction. But it's still a really good movie, and it has some creepy parts. Number 5 is Orphan. I really always liked this one, even when it came out. I love the plot twist. I am looking forward to seeing Orphan 2. I think Isabel Furman, if I'm saying that correctly, is a talented actress, especially in the role of Esther. She really hasn't done much since Orphan, and I really like the performance of Vera Farmiga, and this was even before she did things like Bates Motel and the Conjuring movies. But I just really like how she's butting heads with the douchebag husband, and maybe Peter Skarsgård was just directed to act like that. I thought his performance there was very annoying, but I love the character of Esther and her whole backstory and some of the motivations. And there were times where I even thought they went a little too far, but that's what I appreciate about the movie. They're not afraid to go too far and stuff like that. So number 4 is Sleepaway Camp. This is movies primarily known for the twist ending, and I will say I was not around in 1983 when the movie came out, but I can only imagine how shocking it was to see such a bizarre plot twist. I don't want to spoil it, even though it's an old movie. I recommend everybody to watch it. I will say this movie is very cheesy and may turn a lot of people off, but once again, that's what I appreciate about the movie. I think the kills are effective for the budget. I like the character of Angela. I think Felicia Rose, even though she wasn't given much to say, she really has good acting just with her eyes alone, and just but anyway, I really like Sleepaway Camp. I would highly recommend it. Number 3, I would say the original Black Christmas is a really good movie. I only recommend watching the original Black Christmas from 1974. I don't mind the remake. I thought it was decent. And the new Black Christmas, I believe from 2019, was very bad. I would not recommend that at all. But the original Black Christmas is very good. It's very creepy and eerie, and I thought what made this cool was it was a horror movie that was even before movies like Halloween and Friday the 13th and stuff like that. It's a shame that it didn't get more attention until recently, and it's a shame what happened to the director Bob Clark, who at the time was thinking about making a follow-up sequel to this movie, which I would have really liked to seen his ideas and visions, but unfortunately he had passed away. But I would highly recommend seeing Black Christmas. I think the character of Billy is really creepy, and especially the kill at the beginning with the girl being suffocated with the bag and being shown in the attic was extremely creepy. Um, I really like the performance of Barb, played by Margot Kidder, and this was even before she'd done movies like Superman. Um, but and my favorite character of the movie is Mrs. McHenry. She kind of reminds me of my aunt. Maybe that's why I really like her. Um, Number two is The Fourth Kind. This movie really wasn't received well, but once again, this is just my opinion. I found it to be really creepy. I am a fan of found footage. I'm not the biggest fan of aliens or things like that, but I don't want to get into my personal beliefs over UFOs and stuff, but I do sort of believe there's something out there, and this movie just kind of added to my interests of research and that, but I thought it was a very creepy movie, and I liked how they did scenes of, fake found footage mixed with a Hollywood film, style. I am a fan of Milla Jovovich, with the Resident Evil movies. I thought she was decent in this movie. I thought this movie was very creepy, especially with the found footage parts of the film. I, thought the ending was very creepy and just kind of made you think about it. I would highly recommend this movie, especially if you like found footage or a fan of sci-fi or aliens or things like that. But I think it's very underrated, and I think it really needs worth a watch. Number one is The Silence of the Lambs. I don't know what couldn't be said about this movie. It was one of the very few movies to win the Oscar for Best Picture. Everybody that got their Oscar really deserved it. I really enjoyed everybody's acting, especially Anthony Hopkins. I do think the performance of Ted Levine as Buffalo Bill was a little bit underrated. I thought he was slightly even creepier than Hannibal Lecter. But anyway, these are my opinions on my 12 horror movies. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you'd like to see other suggestions. I'm a huge horror fan, but I just love movies in general and talking about them. So let me know. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this. Have a nice day.